When you put on an educational show so you can cook dinner or catch your breath, you probably feel good about giving your child something enriching. They're learning colors, counting, problem solving, and they're completely focused, sitting still for the entire episode without moving. But then you ask them to look at a picture book for 2 minutes, and they're squirming, interrupting, asking when they can watch another episode. You probably think the problem is how much they're watching, or that you need to cut back on screen time. But what if the research shows those educational shows aren't just failing to build attention? They're actively training your child's brain to need constant stimulation just to stay engaged? Picture this familiar sequence. Your child finishes their educational show and immediately asks for another episode. When you say no, they melt down. You suggest playing with blocks. They last 30 seconds before wandering off, frustrated, saying it's boring. You try to read a bedtime story. They can't sit still. They're interrupting every sentence, touching everything, asking to do something else. Meanwhile, that same child just watched 45 minutes of educational content without blinking. What connects these moments will surprise you. Every time your child watches these fast-paced shows, their brain is undergoing a process of conditioning that acts like novelty training. A new image every 3 seconds, a new sound every 5 seconds, a new emotion, new color, new movement, constantly. Every cut triggers the brain's orienting reflex, an involuntary alert system. This releases dopamine, and after weeks of this pattern, the brain habituates. It doesn't just prefer fast stimulation. It starts relying on that external jolt just to pay attention. Books don't provide it, puzzles don't provide it, calm play doesn't provide it. So the brain protests, and you interpret that as attention problems or difficult behavior. But it's not a behavior problem, it's an adaptation problem. And once you understand how it works, you'll see it everywhere, starting with the first show on this list. Show number 1, the Fast Cut Learning Adventure Show. These are the shows with enthusiastic hosts exploring the world, teaching about animals, science, geography. The content is wonderful. Your child is learning real information. But count the seconds between camera angle changes. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, sometimes less. Every cut, every transition, every zoom in triggers that dopamine microspike, and the brain starts to expect it. This creates what researchers call attention fragmentation. Your child's brain gets really good at processing quick bursts of information, but it loses the ability to sustain focus on anything slower. A mom told me her son could name every animal in the rainforest after watching these shows. He knew facts she'd never taught him. She thought it was working beautifully. Then one afternoon, she asked him to help sort laundry by color, a simple 5-minute task. He lasted 30 seconds before he was across the room, asking to build something, do something, watch something. She couldn't understand it. This was the same kid who absorbed 45 minutes of animal facts without blinking. His brain had learned to absorb information at high speed, but it never learned to sustain attention at low speed. These shows are exceptional for vocabulary and world knowledge, just not for building sustained focus. Use them sparingly, and always pair them with at least 3 minutes of quiet, unstructured play afterward to help the brain downshift. Show number 2, the highly musical, rapid repetition learning show. Now, music is wonderful for development, but when you layer constant songs with fast movements, bright visual pops, and rapid transitions all at once, you create what's called sensory stacking. Multiple sensory channels firing at maximum intensity simultaneously. Visual, auditory, and implied physical movement, like camera swoops and fast zooms that make the child feel like they are flying, all compete for attention. In young children, the part of the brain that controls sustained attention is still developing. When every sensory channel fires at once, that system overloads. And here's the telltale sign most parents miss. Watch your child's hands and feet during these shows, right now, next time they're watching. They're often moving, tapping, bouncing, wiggling, even while they seem focused. That's not just extra energy, it's a process called motor simulation. Their brain sees a character jumping and physically primes their muscles to jump, but they have to sit still. That pent-up physical energy has nowhere to go, creating physiological agitation. When the show ends, that movement doesn't stop. It intensifies. You've seen this. Your child finishes an episode and they're bouncing off the walls. They can't sit for dinner. They're talking loudly, moving constantly, struggling to transition to calmer activities. Their nervous system isn't just energized, it's overstimulated. These shows work as an occasional treat, not the daily default. When your child does watch, plan for a 15-minute buffer of calm activity afterward. Show number 3, the interactive call and response show. Now, this one sounds controversial because isn't interaction exactly what we want? Shouldn't we be thrilled when shows get kids participating instead of passively staring? Yes. And no, because the interactivity in these shows isn't real interaction. It's rehearsed responsiveness. The show asks a question, waits exactly 3 seconds, then provides the answer and moves on. Your child learns to respond to constant prompting rather than develop their own internal pacing and sustained thinking. Think about it like this. These shows are training your child to be Alexa. Respond to prompt, wait for next prompt, respond again. But real thinking, the kind that builds attention span, requires your child to generate their own prompts, to wonder, to get bored and figure out what to do about it. These shows eliminate that muscle entirely. One parent told me her daughter would ask, "What do I do now?" every 30 seconds during free play. She couldn't sustain independent activity because she'd become conditioned to constant external direction. After watching these shows regularly, children often interrupt more frequently in conversation. They expect adults to prompt them constantly, the way the show does. They struggle with activities requiring self-directed attention. These shows have genuine value for early learning, vocabulary, basic concepts, following instructions, but limit them to short bursts and balance with unstructured, self-directed play where your child practices generating their own mental prompts. Show number 4, the high-emotion cartoon, disguised as educational. You probably love this show because it teaches kindness, friendship, sharing, emotional regulation, and it truly does teach those things beautifully. But the emotional roller coaster in each episode, the loud reactions, the dramatic music, the big emotional swings from conflict to resolution, activates the amygdala. That's the part of the brain responsible for processing intensity and threat detection. Even if the content is happy, the rapid firing puts the nervous system into a state of hyperarousal, a physiological stress state. When it's repeatedly activated by big dramatic emotions on screen, it keeps the child's nervous system in a heightened state. Parents tell me their child cries more after watching these shows, not because anything sad happened in their day, but because their emotional regulation system is already maxed out from the show. So, when normal frustrations happen, a toy doesn't work, a snack isn't the right flavor, they don't have any emotional bandwidth left to handle it. The show used it all up. Imagine watching an intense thriller movie right before trying to focus on a spreadsheet. Your body is still keyed up, your heart rate is elevated, your brain is scanning for the next emotional spike. That's what happens to young children after these shows. Parents report more meltdowns, more reactivity, more difficulty calming down, wonderful messages, overwhelming execution, small doses, that's the key. Show number 5, the hyper-educational, info-dense show. And now, we come to the show that parents defend most fiercely, because this one feels like pure education. No silly characters, no emotional drama, just fact, science, real information delivered with incredible animations. This is the show that makes parents feel like good parents for letting their kids watch. And that's exactly why it's so important to understand what it's actually doing to attention span. The problem isn't the content, it's the speed and density. When information comes at children faster than they can process it, their brain experiences cognitive overload. They're taking in stimulation, but they're not actually absorbing or integrating the information deeply. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. You might catch a few drops, but the sheer force of the water makes it impossible to swallow. The effort leaves the brain exhausted, not nourished. A dad told me his 5-year-old could recite facts about the solar system after watching these shows. Impressive vocabulary, real scientific concepts. But when they went outside to look at the actual moon one night, his son couldn't stay focused on it for more than 15 seconds. He wanted to talk about other planets, ask rapid-fire questions, move on to something else. He had information, but he didn't have the attention capacity to observe, wonder, or sit with curiosity. And here's how you know if your child is experiencing this. After watching, they seem intellectually buzzy, but emotionally irritable. They want to talk rapidly about what they learned, but they can't sit still to draw it or play it out. Their brain is full, but their attention system is fractured. Think about your own experience. Have you ever watched a fast-paced documentary when you're exhausted? You stare at the screen, but afterward, you can barely remember what you learned. Your brain was overstimulated but not truly engaged. These shows contain amazing educational material, but they're better suited for older children with more developed processing speeds, or for younger children in very short segments with plenty of quiet processing time afterward. Now, let's connect what we've just seen, because there's a pattern you need to understand. 5 different show types, 5 different problems, but they all create the same result: a brain that expects constant novelty and struggles with sustained focus. And here's the part that matters most. This isn't about screen time. It's not about educational versus non-educational content. It's about stimulation speed. Your child's brain is learning to operate at the speed of these shows. And when real life doesn't move that fast, when a book stays on the same page, when a puzzle requires sustained looking, when conversation happens at normal human pace, their brain protests. Not because they don't want to engage, but because they literally can't downshift fast enough. Remember that puzzle example from earlier? This is why it happened. The brain adapted to expect rapid visual changes. So a puzzle that requires looking at the same pieces for minutes feels intolerable. It's like switching from scrolling social media to reading a novel. Your brain protests, not because you don't want to read, but because it's still wired for rapid novelty and needs time to adjust. You have to consciously slow yourself down and let your attention system resettle. Young children don't have metacognitive awareness, the ability to step back and observe their own thoughts, to manage that transition themselves. They need environmental support. And this is really important. For most children, this doesn't indicate clinical ADHD. It creates symptoms that mimic an attention disorder. And the best news? This isn't permanent damage. It means their environment has temporarily shaped their attention expectations. The good news? Attention systems in young children are incredibly plastic. They can adapt back to appreciate slower, deeper engagement once you adjust the environment. You'll often see behavior improve within days, and the attention span itself starts to deepen within weeks. What you need now is a practical framework to protect and rebuild your child's attention span without adding stress to your day. But first, understand this. You're not repairing damage. You're not fixing a problem you caused. You're simply teaching your child's brain something it never had a chance to learn. That attention can feel good even when things move slowly. That's not remediation, that's development. Step 1, the 3-minute reset. Right after your child finishes a fast-paced show, don't jump straight into your next activity. Give their brain 3 minutes to downshift. Not 3 minutes of nothing, 3 minutes of something steady. Building blocks where each piece makes a soft click, playing with water that pours slowly, drawing with crayons that require pressure and focus. You're creating a decompression chamber for their attention system. And here's what you'll notice. If you skip this step, the next 20 minutes will be harder. More resistance, more "I can't," more frustration. But if you build it in, the transition to dinner, homework, or bedtime becomes smoother. You're not adding time to your day, you're investing 3 minutes to save 20 minutes of chaos. Step 2, the 70-30 balance, and when to use each. Here's the simple rule. 70% of your child's screen time should be slow-paced content where scenes last more than 10 seconds. That means if your child watches an hour per day, 40 minutes should be slow, 20 minutes can be fast. And here's the strategy. Save fast-paced shows for weekend mornings when they have hours to burn off the stimulation outside. Use slow-paced shows on weekdays when you need cooperation for dinner and bedtime. Your training preference. When slow becomes the baseline, real-world activities feel manageable instead of boring. Step 3, bring learning off the screen. If a show teaches counting, do a quick counting game afterward with toys or snacks. If it teaches emotions, use emotion cards or label feelings during real moments throughout the day. Because here's what happens if you don't do this. Your child learns to associate learning with screens and stimulation. They start to believe that education requires entertainment, that knowing something means watching something. But when you take what the show taught and practice it in real time with real objects and real consequences, you're teaching them that learning can be slow, hands-on, and still valuable. You're building their trust in low stimulation engagement. Step 4, anchor activities, your secret weapon. Your daily routines, meals, baths, outdoor time, bedtime, are natural attention trainers. They require your child to sustain focus without entertainment, to engage with something that doesn't give dopamine hits every 10 seconds. And they happen every day, which means they're building attention skills whether you think about it or not. The key is protecting these moments. Don't rush them. Don't fill them with extra stimulation. Let them be slow and ordinary. Because ordinary is exactly what your child's attention system needs practice with. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. My child only likes the fast-paced shows. They refuse to watch anything slower. That's completely normal. Their preference has been shaped by repeated exposure, and preferences can be reshaped. Start with alternating. One fast-paced episode, then one slow-paced. Over 2 to 3 weeks, their tolerance for slower content increases. And remember, you're not fixing them. You're recalibrating their baseline. That starts working within days, not months. So when you're scrolling through streaming apps tonight, looking for something to put on, what exactly should you be looking for? Here are 6 specific visual and audio cues that tell you a show will support attention development rather than fragment it. Look for shows where 1. The camera stays still for 10 to 15 seconds at a time. Count it. If a single shot lasts long enough for your child to actually scan the scene and notice details, a bird moving in the background, a character's expression changing, that's good. 2. You can hear natural sound. Not a constant backing track or music covering every moment, but actual pauses where you hear the wind, footsteps, or just room tone, like a door closing or a bird outside. This teaches the brain that engagement doesn't require constant auditory input. 3. Characters move at human speed. Not sped up, not bouncing, not in constant motion. Just walking, talking, doing activities at the pace real people do them. 4. There's space between dialogue. Pauses where characters think before responding. Where the viewer has time to process what was just said before the next thing happens. 5. Transitions are soft. No whoosh sounds. No spinning screen effects. No bright flashes between scenes. Just a gentle fade or a simple cut. 6. The emotional tone stays relatively steady. No big swings from loud excitement to sudden conflict to resolution within 60 seconds. Just a consistent, calm emotional baseline. When you're searching for shows, look for these keywords in descriptions: gentle, slow-paced, calming, real-world, nature, observational. Avoid descriptions that say high energy, action-packed, fast-paced, exciting, adventure. The marketing language tells you everything you need to know about stimulation level. And here's what happens when you make this shift. Within 3 to 5 days, you'll notice your child can sit with a book longer. They're less reactive during transitions. They engage more deeply with open-ended toys. You're not seeing them calm down. You're seeing their attention system return to its natural pace. These shows don't replace the fast-paced ones entirely. That's not realistic or necessary. But when 70% of what your child watches has these characteristics, their brain learns to expect slower pacing as normal. And when slow becomes the baseline, everything else, books, puzzles, conversations, creative play, starts feeling engaging again instead of boring. Here's what I want you to take away from this. If your child struggles to focus on books, puzzles, or calm activities, if they seem to need constant entertainment, if they can't sit still unless a screen is in front of them, you haven't failed them. You're not a bad parent. And they don't have an attention disorder. What they have is a brain that's been unintentionally trained to expect rapid stimulation. And now that you understand how that happened, you can retrain it. Not with extreme measures, not by eliminating screens or overhauling your entire life, just with small, strategic shifts in what they watch and how you structure the time around it. The attention span you're worried about, it's not gone. It's just buried under layers of overstimulation. And with these 4 strategies, you can start uncovering it today. But once your child can focus, here's what most parents do wrong. They immediately start drilling flashcards and worksheets, thinking that's what builds intelligence before age 6. The research shows those drills actually rewire the brain to resist learning. And what your child desperately needs instead is something you're probably starving them of without realizing it. That's the next video. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being willing to question what everyone accepts. You've got this.